Hi there, and welcome back to my podcast, Quest for You. Wherever you are in this world, thank you for listening. And I'm so stoked, decided to dedicate a little bit of time to me and ultimately to yourself. Episode 238. Today's tip to just breathe seems so simple and straightforward, yet most of us need a ton of help with this. I know you're thinking right now, what can be so hard about breathing? Why do I need a reminder? And you're right. Our daily breathing is automatic. Thank goodness. We don't have to think about it. Breathing moves air into and out of our lungs. It's a cleaning mechanism, if you think about it. Breathing in brings oxygen into the bloodstream and to the heart and tissues. Breathing out contracts the lungs and expels carbon dioxide, also called waste gas, and water from the nose or the mouth. Oxygen is vital for our survival. Respiration brings air into the lungs where these gas exchanges take place. Our cells need it to break down foods and energy. But breathing has many other important functions. It provides a mechanism for speech, for laughter, and similar expressions of the emotions. It's also used for reflexes such as yawning, coughing, and sneezing. I know when I'm speaking here to you into this microphone, I always run out of air. You sometimes may hear that. It's actually something I can work on and train if I hire a speech coach, which maybe down the road I will consider. We could not live without breathing, yet we pay very little attention to our breath to ensure we get the most out of it. If you want to observe breathing done right, watch a newborn. You can see their belly expand and chest rise as they inhale air through the nose and into the lungs. And as they exhale, their belly contracts. It's quite amazing to watch. As we grow, our breathing patterns shift from a deep and diaphragmatic breathing into a more shallow chest breathing that happens somewhere in the background on autopilot and not intentionally. We inhale through our mouth instead of our nose. We often hold our breath and then thereby take in less air than we actually need. And most of this we don't even notice. Our shallow breathing is a reaction to environmental stressors like temperature, pollution, noise, anxiety, and cultural norms such as sucking in your belly because we want a flat stomach. But shallow breathing also adds additional stress to our body because it doesn't get the needed oxygen. So it's a vicious cycle. Outside stress causes shallow breathing, and our shallow breathing results in internal stress. Long-term, shallow breathing like this can seriously affect our health. Lack of clean air in our lungs can aggravate respiratory problems, and the body becomes susceptible to fatigue and illness. A recent study has shown a link between nasal breathing and cognitive function. In a series of experiments, people were proven more likely to remember an object and more quickly able to identify a fearful face when inhaling versus exhaling through the nose. The enhanced memory recall and emotional judgment disappeared when breathing was done through the mouth. When we breathe with our chests, we use the muscles in our shoulders, necks, and chests to expand our lungs, which can result in neck pain, headaches, and an increased risk of injury. Our shoulders slump forward and our posture changes as well. So my tip today is this. Become aware of your breathing. There's so many breathing exercises you can try if you want, but who has the time to add something else to their already busy schedules? If you have a quiet practice already, such as meditation or walking in nature, you can easily incorporate some exercises into that. But for everyone else, just think about your breathing more frequently. A good place to do that is when you're still, such as when driving or waiting somewhere. I often notice, wow, I am not breathing. Of course, I'm breathing somehow, but I become aware of how shallow it is. And then I take some conscious deep breaths and I immediately feel better. There's not one right way to breathe, but you can do many things to affect your automatic breathing in a positive way when you become aware. Aside from a few conscious deep breaths, you can work with your posture to make it easier to breathe. For example, you can sit up straighter. I have a standing desk for that very reason, because when I sit, I mostly slouch. I find it very awkward to sit up with a straight back. And standing, on the other hand, comes more natural to me. When we slouch, we are compressing our diaphragm and lungs together, and that hinders our breathing. Breathing doesn't appear to do much to us until we do it more intentionally. Try it. Right now, take a few deep breaths and notice the changes. Immediately you will notice more mental clarity, maybe even improved vision, and a more positive outlook. That is what I feel when I take a few deep, conscious breaths. Our breaths are so powerful. They can affect our mental states. They can lead to positive changes in our body, like the suppression of genes expressing for inflammation, as well as lower levels of cortisol in our bloodstream. It's easy to take breathing for granted. Most of the time, we don't have to worry about breathing. Air is always around us. We don't have to concern ourselves with it. But there are times when we are forced into recognizing the importance of our breath. For me, it happens more regularly because I swim. I often challenge myself to last longer on a breath so I don't have to move my head for air. And when I push it too hard, I immediately feel that sickness coming to my stomach when air is running low. What about when you're nervous? Before a test or an important presentation or an interview, or a difficult conversation you're about to have. Or when you're anxious and stressed, in traffic when you're running late to an important appointment, or when you receive unexpected negative news. You may notice your breath becomes shallow and erratic, your pulse spikes, or you may even feel short of breath and dizzy. Slow, deep breaths just don't appear to make us feel better. They are good for us. Our body's reaction of lightness and ease aligns with the many scientific findings today. Research has shown that full, complete breathing is connected with a parasympathetic nervous system response, also referred to as relaxation response. Our emotions affect our breathing, and in turn, our breathing affects our emotions. So when you experience an emotional reaction, you can calm yourself quickly by focusing on your breath. Deep, conscious breaths soothe you. When I have the opportunity, in addition to taking deep breaths, I imagine clean and fresh air flowing through me. This enhances the relaxation and a refreshing effect. When I can, I even close my eyes. This is a great way to really become conscious with yourself and let whatever is bothering you go, even if only momentarily. Sometimes I may say calming things to myself. It may sound silly to you when I say it now. Everything will be okay. You are alright, Janine. Focus. But I encourage you to try it. Nobody needs to hear it. Harness the power of your breath. It's available to you at any moment. When you feel life weighing heavy on you, use your breath to lighten the load a little. Oprah Winfrey said it in this quote: breathe, let go, and remind yourself that this very moment is the only one you know you have for sure. Much love.